Hi everyone, welcome to this last lecture on principles of planning in building planning. So this is the last part in your building materials, construction and planning subject. Whenever we are going to construct a building, we must plan the building from starting to end, which is from foundation phase to end occupancy phase. We need to plan the building accordingly. So the planning of these buildings will have different parameters. In that one, first one is bylaws of that place. Bylaws means the laws which we need to follow while planning the building. In that one, according to Indian standards, when we are going to construct a building in India, we need to follow the NBC guidelines. Those are the laws which are provided by Indian governments. In the same way, if we are going to construct a building somewhere like in European Union, we need to follow the code which is provided by European standards. Likewise, the first thing is bylaws at that place. And next is location of the site. So here, where we are going to construct the building, if I am going to construct a building in a hilly terrain, we need to follow some regulations. And when I am going to construct a building in place like Deccan Plateau, this is a plain ground, so we can construct with ease, and it has hard rock strata, so it is very easy to construct. Next one is climatic conditions. So climatic conditions will play an important role in the construction and planning a building. Now I am considering a building in our southern India like a Deccan Plateau, where rainfall is nominal and climatic conditions are good. So we can construct a building very easily with a flat roof. Whereas if we are going to construct a building near Himalayan zone, where snowfall is very high and rainfall is also high in northeastern regions of India, at that places we need to consider roof which is having a steep slope. Flat roofs are not economical, and also it is not a good suggested design. So climatic conditions are also to be considered in the planning of a building. Next one is surrounding environment. If we are going to construct a building in a town or a city, we need to verify whether the facilities like sanitary facilities or any transport facilities or any hospitals or theaters, recreation, everything here nearby or far away. So surrounding environment will play a good role in planning of a building. Whereas if we choose a place which is nearer to the factories or chemical explosives like preparation places, then it is not a desirable place. So planning should consist of a place which is having a good environment. And the last one is requirements of owner. Requirements of owner is also an important consideration in planning of buildings. Why? Because owner is the one who has to stay in there. So whether he needs to stay as a family or whether he needs to stay as a group of families, or he wants an villa or luxurious home or a simple home, according to his budget, whatever he wants, we need to plan according to his wish. So requirements of the owner is also playing an important role in the planning of building. Along with all these considerations, we are having some elementary principles of planning. These elementary principles are not mandatory principles to follow, but if we follow these principles, our building, whatever we are going to plan or whatever we are going to construct, will look beautiful and will be economical according to our standards. So there are some elementary principles in planning. So in these elementary principles, first one is aspect. If we see aspect, it refers to the arrangement of doors and windows in external walls to the best possible extent to maximize the sunlight and air, and also to increase the scenic view. In simple terms, in Indian context, aspect means our Vastu Shastram, which is like whenever we are going to construct a building, we should follow Vastu. In which direction we need to keep the bedroom, and in which direction we need to keep the kitchen, washrooms, study rooms, everything we will follow according to our Vastu. The same thing refers to aspect here. So if we see here, we are having north, south, east, west, and also all four corners. If we see the first thing, whenever we are preferring the east side, so when we prefer east side, kitchen should present in east or rarely in northeast side. Why we are preferring kitchen in eastern aspect means more sunlight. Whenever it is in morning time, more sunlight will come on that side from east side. So that sunlight which is coming in the morning will act as an germicide. So whatever the germs or any microbes present in the kitchen area will be killed due to that morning sunlight. And also it refresh and purify the air. That's why we prefer kitchen in eastern aspect or in northeastern aspect. And moreover, remaining all the day, it will keep cool and maintains ambient temperature. Then next, if we see on the southeast side, living rooms are to be preferred here. Why? Because the southern or southeast aspect will allow sun towards north in summer and sun towards south in winter. So whenever it is in summer, it is very hot. So we will feel cool in the southern aspect. Whenever it is in winter, sun is towards south, so we will feel warmth over there. That's why living rooms are preferred on south or southeast aspect. And also we will feel the cool breeze in summer, and whereas we will enjoy the winter sun due to these sun conditions. The next one is we are having southwest condition where bedrooms are preferred. Why? Because west or southwest aspect we will have southwest breeze in summer, which will keep the room cool, and we also enjoy the winter sun in the same aspect like south. Then next we are having southern aspect. See, in southern aspect we can plan a dining room, a drawing room, living room, which we discussed in earlier, and also we can place a storeroom over there. Why? Because there is less sunlight over the southern direction. And next, in northern direction, see, in northern direction, whenever we are considering this orientation of the earth or orientation of the sun, north, northeast and northwest directions, light will distribute or diffuse equally. So at these places, rooms like reading rooms or classrooms or studios are to be placed. Why? Because from morning to evening, light is distributed evenly and a good dispersion is happening over there. And also stairs are also majorly located in northern side. Why? Because even distribution of light is happened over there. So in evening also one can go very easily through the steps. That's why stairs is also considered in northern side. This is regarding aspect of the plan. The next one is we are having prospects. See, prospect is like selecting the types of doors and windows to the outer walls, which makes it aesthetically looking good, and also it will give good appearance to the building. With that, it reveals the pleasant features of the building and conceal the undesirable features. Like to the outer extent, building will look very good and pleasing, and as well as it will conceal any flaws in the building. So these prospects may involve providing of the doors and providing of the windows and projection. How we are projecting these windows for better aesthetic appearance. I'll take an example of this window. If you see this window, it is a plain window which is a 3-bed window looking normal. But if we replace this kind of window with a window like this, then its aesthetic appearance will be improved. So such kind of aesthetic improvement is called prospect of the building. Then next one is roominess. Roominess, see, it refers to the suitable proportioning of length, width and height of rooms. So length to width ratios and what is the height to be maintained, everything refers to the roominess. So it deriving the maximum benefits with this length to width ratios and height considerations. We are going to derive the maximum benefits from very minimum dimensions. If we see here, the length to width ratio in a building, a room should maintain 1.2 to 1.5. Why? Because square shape, whenever we are going to consider a square shape, lot of circulation area is wasted. If we consider the same rectangular shape more than 1.5, it will look like a tunnel. So the good thing is like we have to maintain from 1.2 to 1.5 ratio between length and width to a room. And along with this one, doors are to be located properly to maximize the utility and also to maximize the privacy of the room. That privacy we will see in the coming things. Next, it is cupboards or lofts. Whenever we are placing a cupboard or a loft in the room, we need to ensure or we need to provide maximum utility to that cupboard. Then only roominess will be achieved. And next one is light colors. See, whenever we are going to paint a room, prefer light colors. Why? Because whenever we are applying light colors on walls and floors, it will create an effect like to the mind, yes, it is a big room. It will create an impact like light colors will show it is a big room, whereas the dark colors will shrink the room size. Obviously, room size is same, but color may change. Due to that mindset, we will feel like light color will give more roominess. See here I am having an example of a square room which is having a bed and a table. So if we enter through the door, we are having more circulation area. Instead of this one, if I made it or if I modify it, a rectangular one, with a rectangular one, we are able to save the area which is going to be wasted in circulation with effective size. That's why, and moreover, it looks roominess will be achieved, elegant look will come and less area will be consumed, whereas the circulation area will be good enough. That's why a small modification from square shape to rectangular shape is preferred. That's why roominess is to be observed while planning the room. So this is the part regarding roominess. Next one is the furniture requirements. So if we see this furniture requirements, see if whatever the furniture we are going to place in the room, we don't know before construction itself, but planning refers to the idea of furniture requirements. Whatever the furniture we are going to place in a room and how we are going to place that furniture in the room and how we are going to use that room for maximum utility. Everything need to be considered in the planning phase itself. Like when I consider a bedroom must consist of a king size or queen size bed and a dressing table and some other utilities like cupboard for clothes and everything. So all these things need to be considered in furniture requirements. So before construction itself, we need to plan for furniture requirements also in a building. To explain these furniture requirements, I am considering a hostel room. So here I am considering a hostel room which is square in shape. So I am going to place beds on both the sides. Then I will consider this one as a hostel room with 2 beds on 2 sides, and I will provide a door which is a double door opening. This will look good. But if I consider a same hostel room with roominess considering in our mind, then I am providing a single door and 4 beds in the room. Then we will get more space for furniture. Like I can keep bookshelves and reading place on the other side. So whenever we are going to consider the design like the hostel room which I explained here, we are considering a square room with a double door, and I am considering a rectangular room with a single door, which will be more effective and which will be more efficient, right? So here we can accommodate more place for reading and as well as some cupboards for books also. This is the furniture requirement along with roominess concept. This is furniture requirements. A just basic example with a hostel room. Like this, we need to consider all the rooms before construction itself. We need to design in our mind with proper planning. This is for furniture requirements. Next one is for grouping. See, grouping is like it is the deposition of various rooms in building for the convenience of users. So how we are going to group the rooms? Like if I am having a bedroom, for that bedroom side by kitchen is there, but the washroom or water closet which we want to use is not attached to the bedroom. It is somewhere nearer to kitchen. Then it will look ugly. In the same way, we are having guest room. After guest room, immediately we are having a bedroom, which are clubbed together. It is also not looking so good. So such kind of grouping is not good in planning. And moreover, no one will prefer such kind of grouping. Let us have an example. Here I am having a basic plan of a building. So first we don't know where to place kitchen, bedroom, everything. Right now I am considering a dining here. Dining should be nearer to most probably kitchen. So dining should be located just side of a kitchen. It is a best grouping technology. Right. Likewise, I am having water closet and bathing here. Immediately after to this water closet and bathing, we will have bedroom, means it is a good combination. So bedroom should be attached with a bathroom. That is a good grouping. As well as living room and a recreation room. If both are combined together, then it is a good thing. And as well as this living room also grouped with dining room, then it will be very easy for guests to enter into the dining. That is also a good kind of grouping. And children bedroom or guest bedroom, that should be engaged with or grouped with living room. Such kind of grouping is good. So whenever we are going to group these rooms in planning, we must consider three conditions. That is the comfort, privacy and efficiency. These three conditions need to be considered in mind, and we need to group the rooms which will give better performance of the room. And also along with this, we need to consider economical service also, which is an important part in the building construction. So this is for grouping. Next, we are having circulation. If we see circulation, it simply refers to the space provided for the movement. When we are going for a multiplex, we will have circulation for movement of the members or movement of the persons in the multiplex. In the same way, when we are in an office or when we are in a college, we will have corridors for the movement of the public. Likewise, we need to consider circulation as an important part in a building. If it is in our own house, like a residential building, we need to maintain some circulation from living room to bedroom, living room to kitchen, or living room to guest room. Likewise, circulation is to be provided. And in the same way, when we are taking care of any public buildings, we need to provide good circulation. See, the circulation, it should be straight and sufficient. The first thing is, it should be straight and sufficient. And the second one is, it should be well lighted and ventilated. Dark spaces need to be avoided. Why? Because circulation means public will move continuously. So it should be well lighted. And whenever we are providing stairs, it should be easily accessible to all users. If stairs are located in any corner part of the building or backside of the building and it is not visible to the general public, then it is waste. If it is an own house or residential building, visitors are less, then it is fine. But whenever we are considering a multiplex, if you go for a multiplex, there we are having stairs in front of us. Likewise, it should be provided. Stairs should be easily accessible to all the users. And next one is the sanitary services. Whenever we are providing sanitary services, it should be easy to access. In this circulation, we are having two kinds of circulation. One is horizontal circulation and another one is vertical circulation. So horizontal circulation refers to the movement of the persons in a same floor, whereas vertical circulation refers to the movement of persons from one floor to another floor. So here if we see horizontal circulation, see this is the circulation in same floor. Passages, corridors, halls, lobbies will refer to this horizontal circulation. See, according to building guidelines, area of this horizontal circulation will be 20 to 25% of the total building area. And if we see these vertical circulations like staircases, lifts, ramps, escalators, etc., this area should be around 8 to 10% of the total building area. This is regarding circulation of the building. Then next one is the elegance. See, elegance is like refers to aesthetic appearance. How good we are going to see that building from outside. We are having elevations. Whenever we are going to construct a building, entire construction is one part, but the look, how we are going to look that building, elevation, how good it is representing. See, I am considering a building here, a building, just a building, that outer appearance is somewhat okay. It is not aesthetically excellent and its elegance is not good. In the same way, I am considering another building which is well known to us. It is like a brand, Taj Mahal. So this elegance of the building, if we see this, the beauty of that building is perfectly eye-catching. Such kind of designs refers to elegance. So if we see how elegant a building is, it depends on positioning of these elements and parameters which we are going to follow in construction. So position of the doors, windows, ventilators, chhajas, balconies, staircases, what are the different elements present in a building, depending upon the position of those elements and the parameters, width, length, height, and what are the projections which are going to be projected outside, depending upon all these parameters, building elegance will be improved. We can say like how good it will look and how elegant it will look, we will decide depending upon these parameters. So whenever we are planning a building, we should consider all these parameters to make the beautiful building or to make it look very elegant. This is for elegance. Next is sanitation. Sanitation is like providing lighting, ventilation, and sanitary conveniences. So in a building, how good we are going to provide the lighting and how good ventilation is provided to the building and what are the sanitary conveniences we are taking care. See, let us have a look. Here, the first one is lighting. Natural light is a fundamental element of an architecture. Why? Because we are majorly depending upon natural light. So light should be uniformly distributed in the room and it will not create any glaring effect. So building should be designed like natural light should come into the building and it should not glare to the eyes, like providing windows and ventilators of appropriate size at suitable positions. It contributes significantly towards the natural lighting. So in residential buildings, whenever we are going to consider the windows, the window area to the floor area ratio should not be less than 1:10. While for school buildings or any commercial buildings, the window floor area ratio would be 1:5. Next to ventilation, it ensures the entry of fresh air into the room or a building. So this is achieved by proper selection of the position of doors and windows. So in the previous case, whenever we are providing lighting also, it is with windows. Here in ventilation also, it is the provision of windows and doors. In case this provision of windows and doors are not sufficient, we can also provide ventilators or exhaust fans in the buildings for better ventilation, which is nothing but depending on the artificial ventilation. So first preference in a building should be natural ventilation. Otherwise, we should go with artificial ventilation and also ACs and other sources, vents. The next and last one is sanitary convenience. So the lighting and ventilation is also a part of sanitary convenience, which is nothing but comfort of a person in a room or a home. The next one is the sanitary convenience. It includes the provision of bathrooms or water closets, urinals, etc. Provision of this is not only necessary, but also it is a part of statutory requirements. So they should be sufficient and provided at convenient locations in a building. Not only residential building, in every building, either it is a commercial one or business one. These sanitary conveniences like bathrooms or water closets should have impervious floors, and also walls and floors should have properly sloped for the water drainage, which makes sanitary facilities good. So this is for sanitation. If we see, the next one is flexibility. See, flexibility is a room designed for specific purpose should be also used for another purpose. Like if we see here, study room. If we are having a study room, whenever a guest came to our house, we can use that study room as a guest room. And also if we provide a temporary partition or a curtain between the walls of living room and a dining room, then we can arrange small family occasions, or we can treat like birthday parties. Whenever we are having, we can use living room and dining room together. And as well as if we have an access for backyard in the kitchen, so the backyard can be used for any family occasions or small parties. Such kind of flexibility, whenever we are designing a house or a building, we should consider some flexibility issues also. If we consider this flexibility, then it will be very easy for future, and also whenever it is loaded with parties or some other persons, it is good. Then the next one is privacy. So privacy is an important consideration in designing a room. Like whenever we are going for designing a bedroom should have some privacy. And as well as if we are going to consider any other rooms which should be meant for private purposes, then it should also have some privacy. Like here we have internal privacy and external privacy. So see here, first one is the internal privacy. I am considering an example of a bedroom here. If I am going to design a bedroom like this, which is having a double door placed at the center of the room, then there is zero privacy in that room. A person who is entering into the room can directly see whatever the place or whatever the position in the room easily. But if we consider a room which is having single door and it is opening inwards, then we should have major privacy area. The person who opened the door will see about this down part only. The remaining part will be private. Such considerations will be taken into consideration in designing the bedrooms or any private rooms to maximize the privacy of the room. This is also to be incorporated in our planning, which will make the design very efficient. And next one is the external privacy. See, external privacy is like privacy of the total building. If a building is located in a community which is very adjacent or attached to the street facing, then its external privacy is very less. Why? Because every person can see through the main door. So such kind of considerations need to be kept in mind while designing for external privacy, like providing a good external compound wall or providing any facades. Then next one is the practical considerations. So whatever the building elementary principles or principles of planning we are going to consider, these practical considerations will play a major role. Why? Because the first one is economy. So in practically, economy plays an important role. What are the constraints of funds? What is the availability of the budget need to be considered while constructing a building. Likewise, we have to consider the scope of future extension of the building. So I am going to extend my building not by floors but by extension in horizontal direction. So whenever we are going to construct more floors or whenever I am going to extend it horizontally in future, we need to consider few points in our mind which will not affect building. Those are called practical considerations. See here, improving elevations without dismantling any part of the building. So I am constructing a building which is G+3. In future, I want to construct as a G+5 building. Or else, if I consider a building which is only ground floor, then in future I am going to construct a +1 floor. At that time, the elevation of the building need to be changed. So that modification do not disturb the present elevation. Likewise, we need to consider and also improving the flooring, extension of building without creating more damage to the existing buildings. So present existing building, whenever we are going to extend it, we need to consider minimum dismantling or minimum damage to the present building. Such kind of things need to be considered in our mind while planning the building for future expansion. So all these conditions need to be considered. If we consider these conditions very well, then that building should be good, pleasant and more effective and economical. So that is for elementary principles of planning. Whenever you are going to plan a building in near future, after you becoming a good graduates and after you becoming a good design engineers, just consider these elementary principles and follow it accordingly. Design it in a effective way. Thank you. Bye.